This meeting will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Carlett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Patena.
Here.
Councilmember Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Dunn.
Here.
Councilmember Hunt.
Here.
Councilmember Binswanger.
Here.
And Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council special meeting of February 1st, 2022. This evening we will begin with a study session, and before I turn it over to our city manager and our city attorney, I would just like to make some comments. This is a very critical time in the city of Peoria. We are getting ready to go into our budget sessions. We are in an election season, and so during that time, we as policymakers need to adhere to rules that are put in place to keep us ethical and on track with what we do, which is representing the citizens of the city of Peoria. This afternoon, I sent out a sheet to all of the council members, which is just an explanation, basically a Q&A on what is a council manager form of government. But just for the people who are watching at home, I just want to explain a little bit about our form of government. We are very, very fortunate and proud to have this form of government. It is the council members who represent the residents of the city who are in the seat of policymakers. We are 7 people in the entire city who are in charge of making policy, and it is quite an honor to be in this situation. We then hire a professional city manager, and that city manager handles the day-to-day operations of the city and carries out the policy instruction that we give him. So we do the top level. What are our goals? How do we want our citizens to be represented? What do our citizens want from their government? We talk about those at a policy level, at a high level, and then the city manager makes sure that all of that stuff happens each day with all of the employees throughout the city. So it's a really good system. The opposite of this system is what happened, well, still happens in some cities east of the Mississippi, but really this was part of the reform of government, of local government at the turn of the century, the turn of the last century. And it was because there was so much corruption. You have a person who's in charge of the city, it would have been the mayor, and that person is also in charge of hiring and contracts and procurement and budget and everything else. And before you know it, that person has the ability to hire their relatives to pick up the trash and, to make sure that his other relative is selling the trucks. And before you know it, it's corrupt. And a lot of that happened. And so this form of government came in to sort of set the record straight. There are a lot of checks and balances in place in this form of government, and it keeps us all on a level playing field, where we are supposed to go at all times. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our city manager, or am I going to turn it over to our city attorney first? We are going to talk about some of the rules that have to do with elections.
Yes, Mayor,
Okay.
and I think Jeff has a few words to say first, and then I will jump in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Tyne.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On behalf, and I will make my words brief. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with you a little bit about kind of governance and how it's going to play out here over the next year. And this is perfect timing, as the Mayor had mentioned, with the as we begin and impart on the upcoming budget process. So what we thought we would do is take advantage of talking a little bit about some of the legal aspects that come in, and especially a period of time. And so Ms. Hickman will be able to speak to a number of council policies and state statutes related to that. Thought from there we could talk a little bit about some of the processes where we work together, and specifically the budget process. And so I was going to go through a little bit about, as we are beginning to, on another aspect of the budget process, really talk through how we are planning to approach that for the upcoming year. So with that, I'll pass it to Ms. Hickman to kick off.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and Jeff. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening and discuss this important topic. As we look at the leadership approach and governance with the city going into an election year and another budget cycle, I wanted to provide a brief reminder on some of the adopted city council policies which help ensure that elected officials, city staff are best serving the interests of Peoria, complying with state law, and maintaining public confidence. To begin the discussion, we turn to the use of city resources leading up to elections. So ARS 9-500.14 is the statute on point, and it states that a city or town shall not spend or use its resources for the purpose of influencing the outcome of elections. The term resources is very broad. It can include monies, telecommunications, vehicles, essentially anything of value, including materials, buildings, again, using computers in city buildings. The statute authorizes the Arizona Attorney General to initiate a suit in the appropriate court to enforce compliance. Now, it's important to note, too, that the statute is not limited to instances in which a communication uses direct terms such as vote for, vote against, or elect, but the act of influencing can occur when a communication urges a person to vote in a particular manner, even if it's not said in a straightforward manner. You can think of a flyer with a thumbs up on it or a green light or something like that, which infers a certain outcome that could be deemed to violate the statute. So now we will turn to the council policy adopted to help the city ensure compliance with this state statute. In 2016, the City Council formalized a long-standing city approach to ensuring compliance with ARS 9-500.14 by adopting Council Policy 1-17. Council Policy 1-17 discusses the 6-month rule, or the 6-month period, and there are a number of items set forward which require an additional level of scrutiny during this time to make sure that certain actions are not perceived as electioneering. Any municipal event cannot include election material. Use of city resources for meetings and events requires city manager approval. Mass communications should seek city attorney approval. Electronic communications during this period cannot be used to promote individual council members by identifying them by name and their positions on various political issues. They can be used to communicate neutral factual information such as voter registration requirements, events, issues, and activities occurring in their district. The 6-month period begins tomorrow and runs through the election. So it runs through the primary and continues on through the general election. Council Policy 1-17 does provide additional specificity beyond what I've gone into here, so it's certainly worthwhile to reread as the 6-month period is now upon us. Okay, and turning to the next council policy, Council Policy 1-1 was adopted in 2015 and provides the framework for cooperation among council members and staff. It's the expectation all year long, but it's certainly helpful to remember as we're entering into some of these important decisions that are going to have to be made on events that affect the city in 2022. It encourages direct communication between council members, so if council members have issues, to speak with each other about those issues, notification of positions and views, and any subsequent changes to those positions or views. Considering implications of words and actions, avoiding personalized criticisms, respecting roles for each district, and outlines the interactions and communications between city staff and the council members and what those expectations are. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the council policy, probably all of the council policies, because it refers to the golden rule. So the general expectation is the golden rule to treat others how you would like to be treated. Turning next to the council policy which outlines the code of ethics. State law covers conflicts of interest under Arizona Revised Statutes Title 30, Chapter 3, Article 8, and goes into great detail. We also refer to conflicts of interest in our city code. And then this council policy also refers to conflicts of interest. It defines a conflict and what an elected or appointed official should do in the event of a conflict. It also discusses gifts and what the policy is that was adopted by the City Council as it pertains to gifts. So gifts of more than $50 are prohibited. Anything above that, there could be a perception that it's being used to influence a decision of a decision maker. It states again the importance of not using city resources for private purposes or for personal gain. It refers to the adherence to the council manager form of government. Pursuant to the city charter, the city manager shall be the chief administrative officer and head of the administrative branch of city government. This policy reiterates that and goes into more detail, which I know Jeff will also discuss a little bit during his portion of the discussion. There is a code of conduct which relates back to, again, my favorite, the Golden Rule and all of Council Policy 1-1, the principles of teamwork and cooperation. It prohibits the disclosure of confidential information, discusses not having any campaign-related matters at city meetings or in city buildings. And this is another one that is worth reading as we move forward into 2022 because it contains a lot of important information and expectations of public representatives elected and appointed. So with that, turn it back over to Jeff. Yes.
Technology.
I'm just glad I was able to do that and flip.
Can you hold for just one moment? Councilmember Hunt?
I have a question, Vanessa.
Yes.
Could you go back to the first? It was the one that talked about using city resources. Yeah, I think you were on it, maybe. Most of us, I think, have a city Facebook page that we run constantly as long as we're on council.
Right.
So do we have to stop using, I mean, we show up at events, we get our picture taken, whether it's a Park Fest or a Saturday, whatever it is. We just we're places so we get our picture taken and it goes on our Facebook page. Do we have to stop that now for 6 months?
If you're using the Facebook page, and there's probably a social media policy that directs some of this as well, but the Facebook page, if it's just used to communicate events and other neutral items, should be fine during this period of time. It's just when it's election-related activities.
Okay, just can't say vote for me or
Right.
anything like that.
Yeah, exactly, or I
Okay.
stand for this or anything else.
Okay.
Just, neutral events
It's
that affect
just
your
our
district.
usual,
Yes,
okay, perfect, thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. I thought I'd start with this, what appears to be an organizational chart, but is a little broader than that. And it's really done to acknowledge all of the hard work that you do as a city council. And it gets to the point that we were bringing up is with the Peoria residents and our citizens and their needs. And then in between that, you have a city staff of 1,300 residents, but then in the green box is all of you. And that's where you are having to address all of the important policy issues of a city. And so many of us kind of wonder, what do we mean by policies? Policies are going to be any laws or regulatory measures, major courses of actions, the priorities, your strategic priorities that are put forward, and funding. The direction on the specific funding, the adoption of the budget, all of those specific things land in the 7 individuals here. So while you have an entire staff to help enforce and put these into a reality for you, and you're a representative of the 190,000 residents, it's you 7 that have to go through this rather daunting process. Examples that you see many times every year is tax rates. What are the appropriate tax rates that you put forward, as well as utility rates and other revenue structures? And then with those established revenues, what are the services that you want to provide to your residents? And at what service level do you want to provide those services? And then from there, what is a sense of the community character? And are we following through with those pieces? And then, of course, what are the stated goals and priorities that you have as a collective body? All of those are the items that we have for all of you to discuss and that we want to tee up. And it's our job, of course, to try and provide you the information that is needed, list out these policy options, and if necessary, provide recommendations specifically to that. So just a couple of examples of where you see the collaborations that you see the council work with your staff. Of course, first off is the working with the hiring of your charter positions. So Vanessa, myself, and Chief Anagnost are charter positions and hired. So of course, that is your process to hire those to follow through with this. In addition to that, land use decisions. And of course, what we know and what we hear constantly is land use decisions are really value decisions where we look for your advice. So of course, it is our job as staff to provide the information to make sure that we are legally compliant, following through with all established presiding information, but then to tee up to you the major issues and the values that relate to land use. Of course, we've gone through a very extensive process in our council workshops. So our council workshops have focused quite a bit on what are the strategic priorities that you have put forward, and this is them, of course. We've termed them, per your conversation, livability goals. But it's not only what are those priorities, it's about how are we going to measure the success of those priorities, and we look for you to give us some guidance of that, hence why we've had great conversations in those workshops as well. And then, of course, we have, lastly, the budget document, which is a major policy document as well. It is a little different than what you see in the private sector for the budget than what you might see in a corporate setting. And here's some examples of it. Of course, as you make decisions on funding, that is a key decision-making device of what should be the tax rate, what should be the staffing level, what are the services and service levels come out often in the budget conversations that we are going to be having here in the next few months. Of course, a budget in a public setting is a financial planning tool, a longer term period, a guide for how we're utilizing operations, and helps us with communication. But it's also, as Vanessa is proud to see, it is a legal item as well. So in the public sector, the budget itself is a standing legal document. And in fact, we have our own state statutes here in Arizona that say whatever is adopted in the budget, that becomes your appropriation. When we say budget appropriation, everything should be budget. There are not things that are, quote, offline that we have. And then, of course, any budget amendments go through the council, whether they are perfunctory and routine or whether they are significant. We are going to be chatting. We are going to have a process for you to see all of those and other aspects, including bond authority. There are specific items that all of us have to deal with council. If they decide that we want to undertake a general obligation bond, would have to allow for that to go to the voters and to our residents for such approval, if that's the case. So with that said, your city council has put forward a number of different principles of sound financial management. I was just going to go through some of those. One of those key principles is to have a long-term perspective. We like to show this as it's important that when we go through our discussions, you'll hear our chief financial officer say it's time to eat our oatmeal and not just our Fruit Loops. The point being that we have to make sure long-term that we are able to sustain our operations, that we have the revenue in place on an ongoing basis to support the police officer or the firefighter or the contract that we have for our right-of-way on an ongoing basis. This can get tricky because unlike what you have in a corporate setting, there are about 70 active funds. So we have a couple of those major operating funds, and they're very specific on how you can apply those. So a lot of conversation that goes into how to ensure that we have a long-term perspective and why those key principles are so important for us to have. Some of those others, of course, are using recurring sources for recurring expenses. Great conversation that we've had in the past with this council about what are our reserve policies. We've worked with you on those policies, and they take quite a bit of time, but they have been a stalwart for us. And then lastly, of course, those policies are adopted by the elected body. So we are about to undertake a series of study sessions to talk about the different major departments here in the city and what they're seeing that is happening within their operation. What are some of the key outcomes that they aspire to if we have them correctly, and then how are they achieving them, and where do they see different approaches? In other words, what are some of the budget supplementals, for example, that we'll have? Here's some of the budget issues that we anticipate that we'll be talking about in the next few months, and that includes public safety trends. We've had some great conversations, actually a lot of conversations on this. So we're ahead of the game on our, I think that many of you are very well versed on our fire and police operations, but we will continue to have those here in the next couple of months. Compensation-related issues in a time like this becomes very opportune for us to discuss how does this play out, and do our employees feel that they are valued, and what is happening in the broader economy. Pension-related costs and other cost drivers, growth-related issues, aging infrastructure, which has always been a high priority and a policy directive that you've given to all of us. What we call revenue disruption, which means we rely on specific revenue sources that are based on certain economic activity. What if that economic activity changes? Or what if there's a change, say, for example, a legislative change that also occurs that changes that? What is the decision points that we have? And we would come to you with those kinds of policy considerations. Obviously, a high priority for this council is economic development. That comes with a strategy for business attraction and retention, which I think is so important and that we'll want to continue to have conversations with. Water supply and allocations, and of course, regional transportation. These are issues that we've seen as we consider an extension to the county's sales tax through a future proposition. So those are items you can anticipate. We will be teeing up study sessions to go through those individual items and how they're impacting all of us. So as we go through this, what we think is important is to try to talk about what is it that will be the role of staff as we present this information to you as council for your consideration. And that really gets into the conversations. One example that we like to use is street and volume activity in the hard conversations. Not that this is one that you're going to have to look at, and this is not Peoria, Arizona that we're looking at, but this is an example of where it is really incumbent upon us as a staff to identify, this is how we identify what a level of service is. This is how it's established as far as broader national and international policies. This is what it looks like. This is where we have pinch points in Peoria. This is what kinds of investments it would take and the trade-offs that are there. And then from there, we ask your opinion from a policy perspective. What is the level that you want and how would you like us to go about that, and are there any trade-offs for that? So the roles in public budgeting, I put you in there twice because you obviously need to be at the front and the back end of this. So first off, of course, through the important strategic workshops that we have had, as well as the earlier conversations and study sessions that have led up to this, you have helped provide strategic direction to us and establish priorities, and helped us to talk about some of these policy implications. Based off of that, what I have been able to do is work with the staff and help them to develop what are the program objectives to measure, what should be the appropriate service levels based off of what you've given us for direction, and then prepare their appropriate budget requests. From there, your executive budget team, namely the city manager, deputy city managers, and the budget and finance staff, work very closely to reflect your priorities that we have heard about, assess those service levels, and then prepare, based off of the amount of resources we have, a recommended budget for you to consider. So we'll have great conversations here, give some primers to what will be happening, and then in late March kind of develop what that recommended balanced budget looks like. But a lot of lead in to that. And then back to you as an elected body to review that budget, approve that from a formal side, and then communicate that back to constituents. So the Peoria process, we do have a baseline budget that is listed all the way down to the line item budget. That is something that is available right now and is available online for folks to see and for all of you. But we recognize, because of all that we are talking about and the importance of it, we have 1,300 amazing employees to help us make this a reality. And we want to make sure all of us can have the strategic conversations that are needed during the process. And to recognize that performance matters. What you'll be hearing about from a lot of us is how important it is to measure the efficiency and effectiveness of our investments. And so we do bring that up, and hence in the conversations that we have with you, we will constantly refer back to your livability goals as well as our own internal operational. And of course, the collaborative effort to make sure that we all understand how we're approaching this, what we're putting forward, what else you need from us. So here's a little bit of the calendar. As a last slide, you can see we have had some of the strategic goal setting and been able to talk about some of the very meaty topics to date. That allowed us in November, when we heard from Deputy Chief Deputy City Manager Andrew Granger, as well as Chief Financial Officer Kevin Burke, and our Deputy Director Peter Christensen, going through the financial overview for all of you and providing you a sense of what we're seeing and what we are needing, especially post-COVID, some of the more immediate issues that we had had. From there, you will now start to see these department budget sessions where we can go into what are some of the different items that are confronting these major departments so that you're aware of those and recognizing some of the issues that are going to be popping forward. The budget work sessions are when that would be a chance for us to go through and say, okay, so based off of what you heard, here are the ones that we're going to be rising to, and they primarily come in the form of supplementals. And then from there, the formal adoption process, once you do feel comfortable with a budget that is balanced and meets your principles, we would go through the formal adoption process likely in late May and June. So with that, just wanted to kind of go through one of the processes we have because it's about to confront all of you, but if we'll address any questions that you might have on any of this.
Thank you. And so it begins, huh? Council, do you have any questions or comments? No, I mean, we're an experienced council for the most part, and it's a process that we've gone through successfully many times. So we're looking forward to digging in.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the time and allowing us to go through. So we'll be seeing you again shortly.
Okay, thank you. With that, we are adjourned until our 6 p.m. meeting.
The Mayor and City Council welcome you to the Peoria City Council meeting. As a courtesy to others, please silence all phones. If you would like to address an issue that is on the agenda, or if you would like to speak to the council regarding a non-agenda item, please complete a speaker request form, which can be found in the front lobby of the Peoria City Council chambers or in the tray to the left of the speaker's podium. Please place the completed speaker request form in the second tray to the left of the speaker's podium labeled Request to Speak. All speakers will have 3 minutes to complete their comments. A countdown clock is easily visible on the left side of the wall behind the City Council dais. Only items listed on the agenda may be addressed by the Council. Since items presented as part of a speaker's request have not been listed on the agenda, and due to the requirements of open meeting laws, the Council will be unable to respond to items presented as part of the speaker's request. However, please be aware that your comments will be noted. The speaker's name will be called to speak at the appropriate time, in the order that the forms were received. Thank you for your interest and participation in the Peoria City Council meeting.
Council meeting will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of quiet reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Finn.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mayor Carlet,
Here.
Vice Mayor Patina,
Here.
Councilmember Finn,
Here.
Councilmember Dunn,
Here.
Councilmember Hunt,
Here.
Councilmember Binswanger,
Here.
Councilmember Edwards,
Here.
Youth Liaison Fierro,
Here.
and Youth Liaison Rodriguez.
Here.
Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council meeting of February 1st, 2022. If anyone would like to address an issue that is on the agenda, or if you would like to speak regarding a non-agenda items, we have speaker request forms available in the lobby next to the speaker's podium or from the clerk. Please complete the form and pass it on to the clerk. First item on the agenda is a presentation, certificates of appointment to newly appointed board and commission members. I'd like to call your attention to the screen for a short video about Peoria's boards and commissions. The City of Peoria is proud to have 21 different boards and commissions, ranging from arts and culture to economic development to planning and zoning. They're made up of residents and business leaders who bring a wealth of personal and professional experience and who generously volunteer their time, energy, and wisdom to our community. These members meet on a regular basis, deliberating and collaborating on various projects and issues of importance for the benefit of all Peoria residents. In the past few years, they have had a direct role in influencing meaningful projects like the Veterans Memorial expansion, multiple public art installations, accessible park amenities, and our Youth Advisory Board even collaborated with the State Attorney General's office to team up in the fight against tobacco sales to minors. As we welcome new volunteers into this exceptional group of people, I want you to know how much we appreciate your willingness to share your time and expertise with our city. On behalf of the City of Peoria and the Peoria City Council, I want to express our gratitude and appreciation. Your service makes a difference. It's an honor to have you working alongside us as we shape our finest future. And I would like to introduce Councilmember Mike Finn, who is the chair of the Council Subcommittee for Boards and Commissions, and he will announce our new members.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome the new members of the boards and commissions. When I call your name, if you would come down, accept your plaque, and you get a collector's item picture with me, if you so choose. So I'll start out with Michael Kruk with the Veterans Memorial Board, if Michael's here. The next one is Ryan Markson for the Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities Board. And finally, last but not least, Daniel Hulse with the Youth Advisory Board. I think Daniel made the wise choice of no picture. Okay, we'll make sure that we get him his plaque. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is the final call to submit speaker request forms. Again, if anyone would like to address an issue that is on the agenda, or if you would like to speak to a non-agenda item, we have speaker request forms available. As I have said before, please fill them out and return them to the clerk. You will be called on at the appropriate time. And we will now move on to the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine or have been previously reviewed and/or discussed by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If the presiding officer receives a timely notice of a request for removal, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for consideration on the regular agenda. Additionally, tonight's consent agenda items include items posted as a public hearing. If there is any member of the public present who wants to speak to a public hearing that is on the consent agenda, please complete a speaker request form, and you know where to find those. Is there a member of the public that would like to address a public hearing on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Council, I have received no advance requests for things to be removed from consent. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda? So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. And it passes unanimously. We will now move on to the regular agenda item and new business. 13R is expenditure authority, capital improvement projects, pavement management program rehabilitation, and pavement preservation. It's quite the title. Mr. Tyne, would you like to start with the staff report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. The City Council has invested heavily in the city's paved roadway network and as a result has a comprehensive program for life cycle maintenance for our city's streets. And so to discuss this more and a request related to that, we have Jay Davies, our Public Works Director, to speak on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this project. Should be something fairly familiar to you. What's before you is a discussion and possible action to approve an expenditure in the amount of $1.879 million to Viasun Corporation for slurry seal asphalt maintenance services in accordance with budget authority that this council previously approved. The city, in terms of procurement, after my road shows up there, in terms of procurement, the city is using an existing contract with Viasun Corporation. To get to this point, the city issued an invitation for bids in 2020 to select a contractor for micro and slurry seal projects, and we received 3 bids. Viasun Corporation was the lowest bidder during this competitive process, so for this low bid contract, they were selected. The project itself, you have heard about in the past. In March 3rd of 2021 study session, a man most likely wearing a bow tie answering to the name Kevin described the scope of this project as part of the Public Works ongoing pavement management program. In that presentation, he included an overview of all street projects for fiscal years 22 through 25, which are depicted there in the map on your left. And as you can see, those are distributed pretty well across the city. The map to the right shows the areas that benefited from pavement maintenance projects in the prior fiscal year 2021, again, across the city. The expenditure request before you this evening is for a subset of those 22 to 25 fiscal year projects and are represented by this map. I won't recite all the locations there, the descriptions, but I will pause here to allow you a moment to glance at those. Again, they span the city. I want to talk a little bit about performance now. As a result of Council's commitment to and investment in a strong pavement management program, our pavement condition index which is a number, a score that relates to the quality of our roads, has increased from just over 75 to now 77, which is ahead of projections, and it's well above the national pavement condition index of 65.7. 65.7 across the country is considered fair by that scale. Our pavement condition index, or PCI, is 77, which is considered good. So well above average. Our projected PCI, once all of those projects on that first map are completed, is projected to be just shy of 80, which would put us in an even better position. In our upcoming fiscal year 23 budget presentation, we will bring forward a request to fund our next triennial pavement condition survey, a process which results in this PCI score, and more importantly, provides us with the data and for you the data to inform decisions on where to best focus our efforts and resources under our pavement management program. In addition to our PCI, additional validation of our program came in the form of Peoria's 2021 Excellence in Pavement Preservation Award. This award was presented by the ISSA, which is the primary resource for our training, education, and professional credentialing. With that, it is staff's recommendation that the council authorize the expenditure for asphalt surface treatments on the aforementioned roadways as part of its pavement management program. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Dunn?
What is a warranty on some of the work? Because I've noticed some of the roads that we've done last year, I'm seeing the cracks go through and as big in some of the roads, not all of them, but is there a warranty on this? Is it a year? Is it just?
Excellent question, Councilmember Dunn. It's going to depend on the nature of the work and the scope of the project. Our contractors, including Viasun, are very responsive in responding to situations where conditions aren't maintained. It's actually pretty rare. It's part of our ongoing project and effort to address smaller issues so they don't become larger ones. And our office, of course, is always willing to respond if you see issues, potholes, things in your area that need to be addressed in the short term.
Thank you.
Councilmember Edwards?
Thank you, Mayor. Jay, just one question. So are we still working diligently with our service providers when we start to do these roads like the Cox Communications and all the telecommunications to make sure that they're not doing work after we've already been in there? So we're trying to work to get them to do their work before we get in there?
Councilman Edwards, that's an excellent question. We are doing that. We do try our best to communicate with them. We can't always align projects, but that's something that between us and our engineering department, we actually have a group that meets regularly with those providers to make sure that we're communicating about those projects. Last thing we want to do is tear up a road we've just laid down. So that's a priority for us, and we do our best to minimize that.
Councilmember Hunt?
Jay, could you just go back to the list of roads? I just wanted to snap a picture of that. Thank you.
Yeah. We can also make this available to your office as well.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
I'd like to hear more about the 2021 Excellence in Pavement Award.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mayor, ISSA, again, is that group that credentials our employees, it trains them, provides them guidance, and that group surveys cities across the country. So our well above average and good pavement condition index played in heavily to that. But it's also our effective use of resources, the fact that we rely on data from a PCI to target our resources, and to really focus on pavement maintenance versus waiting until a road needs to be torn apart and rebuilt from the ground up. It's a very responsible approach, and those factors weighed heavily into getting that award. We're very proud of it, and our staff and our employees who work out in the field, very hard work and hot work, and we're very proud of them for bringing us that award.
Yeah, that's really a great award, and it wasn't too long ago that we voted to move to this method of, in this policy of pavement management, and so I'm just really pleased that we did. I'm pleased that it's working out and that our index has risen and is still going up.
You're correct, Mayor. That decision was very wise, and we're already beginning to reap the benefits of that.
Yeah, it's wonderful news. All right, is there anyone else?
Yeah, me, again.
Councilmember Hunt?
Jay, now that I look at this again, probably about 2/3 of the properties listed here are what we'd call northern properties rather than the southern area. I know that a lot of the work that's done on our roads down here is much more extensive because they are older and they, in some cases, were let go for quite a while. So are the ones up north, what I'm asking, I'm not complaining that north against south, I'm just wondering, are the ones up north, and I understand this program that Kathy was alluding to, are they getting more of the maintenance work? They're just all listed here. Are they getting more of the maintenance work to keep them up? And the southern are more or less getting the refurbished, tear it all up down to dirt and build new roads? Do you know that?
Mayor Pro Tem, certainly the roads in the south are somewhat older than the roads to the north. So
A lot
when there
older.
is the need, I'm sorry?
A lot older.
Fair. So when there is a need for full rehab, it's more likely to be in the south. However, we're applying the same pavement management approach across the city to reduce the need for that. We're a few years in. Again, if we refer to the map that shows what's coming and what's been done, we're really taking the same approach across the city. It's just, yes, of course, those that are in need of rehab are probably more likely to be further south.
Jay, I might mention also, council member, if I'm not mistaken, when we saw similar maps to this just in the last few years, you saw that it was further south. So many of the roads that you saw in the south actually were done, and whether it required more extensive renovations, slurry seals or such, they were undertaken. Those big investments were over the last several of years. As a result of that, we're able to maintain the same condition all throughout all of Peoria, and that's very important to us.
Okay. I agree. We did get some road work done.
Yeah, very well said. In fact, I think it was about 3 years ago, you all made the decision to really double your investment in the pavement maintenance program so that we could raise all the roads to this condition. And again, we're starting to see those benefits.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Councilmember Dunn?
So on the roads, when you do the slurry seal, I noticed that, because I have somebody that worked for a city in my district in Public Works, and when you keep going over and over, and there's like a lump, you know, it's the blacktop, and then it's kind of a lump going into the gutter. And he was saying that it needs to be, you know, taken up and you know, a little thicker, because that's what's happening. We keep getting the cracks. Can I get some information on, you know, what to look for?
Yeah, Councilmember Dunn, of course, there's always, we're happy to address that, and if you could let us know where that's happening or the area, we can go out and take a look. Anytime you're marrying two different surfaces, blacktop with concrete, that's always a risk that you run. It doesn't mean that we have to live with that. That's part of what the craftsmanship is intended to avoid. But if you're seeing issues in that area, let us know, and we can work with your office to get out there and take a look.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Is that it? Oh, anything else, Mr. Tyne? All right, so is there a motion on item 13R? We have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. And it passes unanimously. All right, next item on the agenda is call to the public for non-agenda items. I have received no requests to speak. We will now move on to reports from City Manager. Mr. Tyne.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. Just one item, we have about a 30-second clip just to talk about some of the upcoming special events. Always fun events, and obviously you saw a new venue in there, which is our renovated new main library, which I really encourage all of you to go, and thank you all, council, for attending the brand renovation opening on that. Thank you, that is all I have.
Thank you. It looks beautiful. All right, so we will now move on to reports from our council youth liaison. Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any reports this evening?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. One of the interests that the board had was during the MLK Day I was mentioning last time, was that we got the community to come together and create a mural of Dr. King. And we were thinking about continuing this and using it for future events. And we were thinking about adding 2 more murals to get the city involved and the community involved in more events. Second off, our board is really interested in having, helping people that have adapted needs. So we're having people from the Adapted Needs Program that are for the city of Peoria to come out and come talk to us. And we're gonna work out ways that we can help or get involved and that such.
That's great. Thank you. Right, Council Youth Liaison Fierro?
Mayor and City Council, last Thursday, we had representatives attend the state legislature at the Capitol. We learned how bills were passed. We got to tour the House and the Senate. We talked to legislatures, and then we actually went to the National League of Cities and Towns just to see what they did, and they kind of explained to us what they did in case we wanted to partner with their organization. So it was a very cool experience.
Oh, that's great. All right, thank you. And there being no further business, we are adjourned.